All right, let's get right into it. If you're in HR, you know 2026 is just around the corner. And it's not just another year, it's bringing a massive shift, all thanks to AI. So today, we're going to break down the essential playbook you need to not just survive, but actually turn all this disruption into a real strategic advantage.
And this quote? This really gets to the heart of it all. Look, for the past couple of years, everyone's been kind of dipping their toes in the AI water, right? Running some experiments. But 2026? That's when we have to get serious. It's about moving past the fun little pilots and actually building responsible, scalable AI systems that deliver real, measurable value to the business. Honestly, the clock is ticking. So the big question is, how do you make that leap? How do you go from just experimenting to creating real value? Well, it all comes down to a clear, actionable framework. And here it is. This is the blueprint. It's built on 4 core pillars. First up, you need a real HR AI roadmap. Second, you have to start designing for the new human-machine workforce. Third, we've got to get good at leading through change when change is literally constant. And finally, and this is a big one, rebuilding culture and trust. So let's break these down one by one. Okay, pillar 1, let's dive in. A real AI strategy, it's so much more than just sending a memo that says, hey everyone, use ChatGPT more, It's got to be a deliberate, focused plan for how AI is going to be woven into the very fabric of how HR operates. And that plan needs to get specific. You have to target the high-impact areas where AI can make a huge difference. We're talking about things like streamlining your recruiting with smart screening tools, or providing instant answers to employees with chatbots, or dynamically mapping the skills you have across the entire company. It's about being surgical with your efforts, not just, aspirational. And here's the payoff. Why do all this work? Well, the data suggests that evolving your HR model to really integrate AI can lead to a productivity lift of nearly 29%. Now that is a number that gets everyone's attention, from the front lines to the C-suite. It shows the real, tangible value of getting this right. So that leads us right into our second pillar, because once you have a tech roadmap, you immediately have to think about your people. You have to start designing a talent strategy for this new reality, a world where humans and machines are working side by side. And the first step here, maybe the most critical one, is a totally clear-eyed, honest assessment. You have to map out exactly how AI is going to impact jobs across your company. Which tasks will AI augment, making your people even better? Which ones will be fully automated? And yeah, you have to be honest, which roles might be eliminated? This isn't about creating fear, it's about being prepared. And that preparation leads you right here, to this dual focus for development. On one hand, you absolutely need to build widespread AI fluency. Everybody needs to get the basics. But at the exact same time, you have to double down, and I mean really invest in the skills that machines just can't replicate: creativity, critical judgment, genuine human empathy. The future belongs to the people who can do both. Which brings us to pillar 3. Because, let's be real, the best AI roadmap and the smartest talent strategy in the world will completely fall apart without the right leadership to make it happen. And in this new era, leadership itself has to evolve. It's not about managing a one-off change project anymore. It's about making transformation just business as usual. And this slide, I think, just nails it. For decades, we've trained leaders to inspire change with big speeches and grand gestures. That's not enough anymore. The new job of a leader is to make change feel normal, routine, even boring. It's about building an organization that's just naturally resilient and adaptable. So to make that a reality, you've got to give your managers a new toolkit. They need practical training in how to lead constant change, how to coach people who are working alongside AI, how to create psychological safety when everything feels uncertain, and this is so important, how to spot and manage the very real threat of change fatigue. And that brings us to our final pillar. And honestly, this might be the most important one of all. All the strategy and tech in the world doesn't matter if you don't have a foundation of a strong culture and real trust. In an era of constant chaos, that's your anchor. And what that really means is it's time for some radical transparency. The old employee value proposition, the deal between the company and the employee, it might be obsolete. You have to be brutally honest about what you truly expect from people in 2026 and what you're really offering in return. Any ambiguity here is just toxic, because if you don't get that right, you run into this huge risk. It's called regrettable retention. It's what happens when your talented people don't actually leave, they just check out. They stay, but they become totally disengaged because the culture you talk about in meetings is not the reality they live every single day. It is a silent killer of productivity and innovation.
So, how do you avoid that? How do you make these four pillars something real? Well, it comes down to the operational engine that you build to power this entire strategy. Let's take a look at that foundational action plan.
These right here are the non-negotiables. You have to accelerate your move to skills-based hiring. You have to get serious about employee well-being and preventing burnout. You got to modernize how you train your leaders. And you have to build a rigorous, data-driven mindset to measure the ROI on all of this. Look, if you take only one thing away from our time today, let it be this. AI is a massive, transformative wave. No question about it. But the ultimate, lasting competitive advantage will always, always be your people. Specifically, people who know how to work with AI and who are resilient enough to thrive when everything is always changing. So I'll leave you with this question to think about. As you look back at this playbook, the AI roadmap, the talent strategy, the leadership, the culture, which of these areas feels the most urgent inside your organization right now? Or maybe which one feels the most under-resourced? Because that's probably where your work begins.